So, what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be going over that kind of growth and development of organisms. So that way you guys will have some notes that you can use to study off of beyond just the ones that you guys already have. Okay? And so we're going to focus on this first objective. Okay? This difference between asexual and sexual reproduction. Alright? So, and again, if you guys want to actually spread out, you don't have to wear your masks. But again, with everything that's going on, less we are spread, you do have to wear them. So, like Aim, if you want to sit right there. Corbin, let's see. Wiley, if you scoot back one desk. And then Corbin, let's see. Roden, can I have you just scoot yours up some? Corbin, scoot so that you're like in the middle of that row. And then Madison, you're either going to have to wear yours or move over. If you move over one desk, you'll be fine. Okay. So, anyway, difference that we have here. We have sexual reproduction. Versus asexual reproduction. Okay? So, with asexual versus sexual reproduction, you're going to need two organisms. Okay? The organisms you generally need there are going to be male and female. Alright? Asexual reproduction, you only need one organism. And these organisms do not generally have genders. Okay? There is no biological sex to these things. Now with sexual reproduction, this is going to be half of one and half of the other. Okay? So each organism gives half of its genetics to make new organism. Okay? And so this new organism, this is going to be a genetically unique organism. Okay, so it's going to be half of its mom, half of its dad, but each of those halves make it genetically different from either of those. Okay, it's not the exact same as either of them. Now with asexual, this is where it's going to be organism will create a genetic copy of itself. Okay? So instead of there being a mom and a dad, just kind of splits. Alright? There's a couple different ways that this happens. Does anybody know any types of asexual reproduction? So cells, when they split, okay? That's called meiosis or mitosis, one or the other, depending if it's a sex cell or not. But, so cells do mitosis and meiosis. which is where they copy info and split. Bacteria. Bacteria do this thing called binary fission. Which is essentially just, it's very similar to that, where they copy and then split. What about some types of, not all types of plants, but some types of plants will make little buds off of them, okay? Budding is a type of this. And this is where small buds come off of organisms until copy is made and splits. Okay? So do you guys know much about bees? So bees, there's like one queen bee, right? And then you have male bees, which will do some of the stuff that they need. But any female bee that is born that is not the queen bee is actually born from asexual reproduction. Okay, male bees are a product of sexual reproduction. Female bees, because female bees that aren't the queen bee end up becoming worker bees. Okay, so if you've ever heard the term worker bees, those are asexual, just kind of clone bees. Okay, every single female bee that is not the queen bee is just some clone, essentially, all right? Every once in a while there is another queen that is born, and that's how hives get started. But until you get that queen bee that is born, every female is just a worker bee. It'll be able to reproduce. It's a very, very few are born, but when they are, then that's what goes on to start the next hive, okay? But until one of those gets born, they're just these essential clones. But then, so one reason I'm bringing that up is that cloning. All right? Anybody know the name of the first cloned organism? Nope. Well, I guess probably. First big cloned organism. First multi-cell big. Okay? Dolly the sheep. Okay? What they did is that they took essentially, so you understand that there are sperm cells and egg cells, right? And what they did is egg cells usually only have half, bless you, half of the genetics in there, right? Only your mom's half. Well, what they did is they essentially took the egg cell, scooped out all of the DNA from it, and instead implanted it all back with the mom's full set of DNA, not just the half set. Okay? And so instead of having to have the sperm and the egg come together, they just created one egg that was 100% the mom's DNA. Then they implanted that egg back into the sheep, and what you were born with was another sheep, Dolly, that ended up being an exact clone of the mom. And so,
wait, yeah, you could do
ethics.
that. You could do that with a human.
Yeah, that's
the exact clone, like.
It's kind of an ethical dilemma. All right.
Yeah, what if that one gets a tumor or something? Then it wouldn't be an exact clone.
Well, it depends. I mean, it still has the exact same genetics.
True.
Just variation in that sort of stuff. Okay. But so, let's talk back about this a little bit. You guys understand that asexual is just a genetic copy?
Yeah.
So over here again, like we said, you have your male sex cells, which are sperm, and then you have your female sex cells, which is the egg. Okay? So, when the sperm and the egg are separate, okay, another name for sex cells, okay, bless you. Another name for sex cells are gametes, okay? Alright, and so gametes are either your sperm or your egg. When they combine, okay, when combined, so when you combine these two things, you're going to have something that'll have a full set of DNA. Brand new DNA, because it has half your mom's, half your dad's, okay, forms what we call a zygote, okay? And that eventually becomes an embryo. Okay, any questions about that?